Can I just say, you guys always blow my mind. I never expect it. I really don't. You guys keep on talking to me and I appreciate it so much. I always cry. I don't cry. I shed a little tear. I'm like, these people are so nice. And yeah. So let's get oh my god. What the heck? Let's get into it. So the comment of the week is going to Kenya Adams. I really liked a comment that you made. You started a discussion and you were replying to someone, but within this recent comment, you had a very good point that I think relates well with this episode. So I thought I might share it. You said they're both bad friends to each other and need to learn how to better communicate because they have that issue. Molly lets things build up and then becomes defensive when called out on her shit. Issa avoids problems until it gets too big to handle. I believe that they really need to be separated and apart to really see each other's growth. I agree with that so much. Because I don't believe Andrew is going to break up with Molly. And Issa is going to continue doing big things. But there's going to be something missing for each of them. So that's what might bring it full circle. Girl, I'm so sorry for the long reply. I just got thoughts and we in quarantine. So I love that. But yo, Kenya, I hope I'm saying it right. You got your 2 snaps. Because yeah, I don't think they will ever talk. I think we're going to finish this entire season without them talking. And that just might be the reality. But I think we're going to start seeing them live their lives separate from each other. And that's going to be interesting. And maybe that's what they need to see what they're missing. Or maybe that's what they see to realize they're not missing anything at all. But yeah, I like that comment a lot. So I hope to see you back in the comment section. Okay, yeah, hey. So we just finished watching episode 6. I like this episode because it's the aftermath of the block party between the fight between Issa and Molly. And this episode is basically geared towards the perspective and view and sort of the world of Issa. There's no other characters like Lawrence or Molly, and it's just Issa. So we are introduced to new characters. I don't think we will ever see these characters again, but they do play an important role in this episode. So Issa's repeating all the things Molly had said to her. And there's one thing in particular that Molly said that she just can't get out of her head, and that is, you are still the same selfish bitch that you have always been. The second thing she said is, you need to figure out your shit and stop using people. So in her head, she's repeating 2 things. She's selfish and she needs to stop using people. And these 2 things, I think, are what got to Issa this episode. And we see her try to work those 2 things out throughout the episode. So for this discussion, I'm just going to focus on those 2 things because I think it's pretty evident that the things that Molly said to Issa is affecting her. And it's not blowing over her head. It's something she's internalizing. And I think within this episode, she was trying to make a change and sort of prove Molly wrong. I don't think she was intentionally trying to prove Molly wrong, but subconsciously you could sense that the reason she's doing those things is because of what Molly said. So the first person that Issa interacts with is Nathan. And she calls him basically to apologize, to say, this is not the way I wanted to reconnect. And she says, I'm sorry if it felt like I was using you. Because Molly went off on Issa saying, you use me, you use Nathan, you use Andrew. And she's basically saying, like, you're using Nathan because you never talked to this guy. You've been avoiding this guy until it was time for you to get something, until you needed something. So in that sense, I do believe Issa did use Nathan. And obviously she feels bad for it, but she did. She did. And Nathan was so sweet and chill in this episode. He's like, yo, if you need help, I will help you. Like, doesn't matter what we had going on before. Like, I like you, and I'm gonna help you. He ain't on this petty-ish like Molly. And then Issa with her fake ass was like, oh, you know I'll do the same for you without question. And I'm just like, sis, you weren't talking to him at this point. And you're only saying that because he helped you. But she wouldn't have. She wouldn't have. I don't believe that. I really liked this episode because it was really planned perfectly, if that makes sense. Issa was given 3 opportunities. She was given an opportunity with the pregnant woman at the grocery store, with the old man that needed a ride, and with the bridal party. I saw the pregnant woman as Issa's first step of showing that she's not selfish, because she was looking in the mirror and mirror Issa was telling her, like, no, don't help her. Nobody in this line is helping her. Why should you help her? Don't help her. But Issa was like, come on, she's pregnant. I gotta help her. And she's trying to stunt like she has coins, but like, sis, you just went through a whole event. You didn't make any money off of it yet. Where are you going parading around like you got coins to be buying people's groceries? Groceries cost $200 like a month. I don't know. I don't buy groceries. I was so embarrassed for her. That was so embarrassing. Like the pregnant girl was like, this is sad. Like, I'm just gonna leave. Like, she didn't even take her groceries. She just walked away off the scene. I'm like, did you really need those groceries? Did you really? This is why I don't trust people. And the pregnant lady was throwing bare shade, saying, the gift, thank you for the gift you've given me. You've given me perspective. God bless. Like, she was basically saying Issa looks good, but she's broke. Like, you know, some people act or present themselves in a way that they seem wealthy in other people's eyes, but in reality, they don't got any money to their name either. And that was kind of funny. So Issa was presented with a second opportunity not to be selfish. And it was with the old man that needed a ride. And Mayor Issa was like, this bitch is not gonna do this again. And she's like, shut up, I'm gonna do it. Like, she's really making this effort to help others and put them first. And it didn't go so well. When I tell you this old man killed me. He was like, don't try nothing. I don't hit ladies, but I will but I will slap a bitch to defend myself. That comment took me out. I'm probably gonna start reciting that. I don't hit ladies, but I will slap a bitch to defend myself. I found George to be a very interesting character. He was very opinionated and demanding, and he basically took Issa on a wild goose chase. Is that what people say? I don't know, maybe. But yeah, and I sort of see a parallel with George being like Issa, in the sense that Issa is the type of person to call up Molly and be like, hey, what are you doing? Get in my car, we're going this, help me do this. And she takes Molly on all these adventures, to Andrew's house, to this weird club, to just drive around for no reason. That's the type of person like Issa is. I kind of see that parallel. Okay, opportunity 3. I don't think this was really an opportunity. It was just Issa being Issa and socializing, being the friendly person that she is. Issa met this girl group at a paint, I don't know what they call those when you go to a paint night place. I don't know. A place where you paint, okay? I never got invited to those, so I'm kind of salty. But yes, it's a place where you paint. It's a place where you paint and drink, I guess. And she met some girls there. They seemed pretty nice. They seemed pretty cool. But they turned out to be snakes. They turned out to be real snakes. Again, that's why I don't trust people. So instead of being selfish and hoarding all that alcohol to herself, she thought, why not I spread my liquids? I don't think that's a good way to say it, but that's what she did. She spreaded her liquids. No, we're not saying that. Issa decided to share her alcohol with these girls, and that was sort of a way to break bread and be like, hey, we're kind of cool now. So after the paint night, they invited Issa to go get some drinks, hang out, just talk some more. But basically, we ended up finding out they were using Issa. They were basically a bridal party, and they had a list of things that they wanted to do. And on that list said, befriend a stranger and dine and dash. And it says in the fine print, you could do multiple things at a time. So they befriended her, and they dined and dashed and left her to pay for the bill. I don't know. I don't really know if Issa saw what I saw. Probably not. But this was sort of like a lesson to her. To be someone's friend and then dine and dash. That's the definition of using somebody. They pretended to be her friend so they could get a free dinner. And that's a huge slap in the face to Issa, because that's potentially what she sort of did to everybody else. Maybe Issa didn't do it to that degree, but she sort of did it. She started to be friendly with Nathan again to get that favor out of him. And she, at one point, when she wasn't talking to Molly, out of nowhere, out of the blue, she didn't even pretend like she cared, but out of the blue, she started to be all buddy, singing songs about friendship, and then asked Molly for a favor. So, yeah, I think she didn't get what she deserved. No one deserves that. But I think there's another parallel there too. Can I just say, I really thought Issa went to hunt those girls down, and I'm just like, please don't let this be an imagination. Please don't let this be an imagination. I want Issa to get her revenge, get her anger out somehow. I know it's not good to beat people over the head with a canvas, but in this case, I wish she did it. I wish it was real. She went, bah, like, bah, bah, bah. My demonstration was good, Kenzie. Bah, bah. What's good? Bah. Bop. Just like, you have to put your back into it. You have to be like, bop, like that. I don't condone violence. Next, Issa's on the phone. She's sad. She sounds defeated, and she's like, hey, are you busy? And in my head, I'm like, who is she calling? Is it Molly? Is it Nathan? It's probably Molly. Nah, she's calling Molly. Nah, she's calling Nathan. No, she called her mom. She called her mom. Yeah, Issa arrives to her mom's house, and at first, she's not really opening up with her, and she's just saying, everything's fine. But her mom knew. A mother's intuition. Oh my gosh, I need to read. Yeah, a mother's intuition. She knew there was something wrong with her daughter, and she just asked for a hug, and Issa came over to hug her. She's like, okay, I'll hug you. But then she just broke down in tears. And I don't know if it's tears of sadness, but I know it's tears of, I'm overwhelmed, because I've had those tears before, and it's just like, you just want to cry. Have you ever cried before? Like, not because you're sad, but you just need a release. I'm telling you guys. And I'm not a crier, but sometimes crying helps. Issa learns 2 earth-shattering things from her mother. 1, that her and Amal weren't really planned or wanted. That's okay. Nothing's ever planned. Look at Tiffany and Derek. And 2, that her mother admires her. And she had no idea. She did not know that. And I really related to that, because my mom doesn't compliment me often. She does, but not often. And you don't really know things until people tell them to you. So it was nice to see that Issa was being appreciated by someone. Kelly, I love Kelly. She's like the best secondary character. She's funny and she's real. And she took the time to call Issa and Molly. She's reaching out to them, and she's trying to tell them, like, hey, you guys need to, again, get your ish together and talk it out. Because she was giving an example of her and Tiff. There was a point where they had a huge argument, and they almost didn't come back from it because they took so long to talk about it. It was probably because of the baby. I'm assuming it's because of the baby. Issa is prideful. Both of them, Molly and Issa, is prideful, but we see Issa's pride in this episode. At the start, we see how she's talking to the mirror, and and Issa was like ready to apologize, and Issa was like, why do you have to apologize? You always apologize first. And she brings up this point to Kelly, saying, I don't want to be the first one to make the move. And then Kelly says, okay, but what if Molly never calls? Are you guys never going to speak again? Pride is not a good thing. I don't care what anybody says. To be prideful is to be a fool in my eyes. It's important for someone to be the bigger person, You can't have two people that are like, I'm not going to do it until they do it, because you're not going to get anywhere with that attitude. And I've been really questioning who's going to make the first move. I don't know if Issa is. I don't know if Molly is. And there was a last scene. The last scene really wrapped up this episode perfectly. Issa was getting ready to go get Ethiopian food. The spot, I believe it's the spot where Issa took Molly for her birthday, or Molly took Issa for their birthday. I don't really remember, but I know there was one point in the earlier seasons where this is their spot where they eat at. So I'm like, oh, she's going for Ethiopian. Molly's gonna be there. And guess what? Molly was there. And do you think Issa would go into the restaurant to be like, okay, you know what? This is a sign. This is a time for me to talk to Molly. And what was so perfectly like thought about in this episode was when Issa looked in the mirror. Throughout this whole episode, we see that Issa looks to the mirror to get confirmation from Mayor Issa whether this is something she should do or doesn't do. And usually throughout this episode, Mayor Issa would say, no, don't do it. And when she looked in the mirror, guess who wasn't there to say, no, don't do it? Mayor Issa. So she had no confirmation to give her the confidence she needed to like just leave. It was basically Mayor Issa saying, this is something you need to do and stop avoiding it. But guess what? Again, we see Issa push off responsibility and postpone this conversation. This is not the first time she does it. Throughout this season, we've been seeing her push the conversation aside and not want to confront Molly. Molly's always ready to talk, but Issa is never ready. So yeah, this is all I really have to say. It was not much. This was a short, quick commentary. Can I just say I love the energy you guys gave me in last week's discussion. Chef's kiss. It was great. I was so happy. And I love that you guys are talking to one another even better. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.